Welcome to the WrestleGoons podcast. I'm Jesse. I'm here with Dubs. We're going to be talking about April 29th edition of Raw. Came out of the University of Kentucky this week out of Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, Alexa Bliss comes out. She's going to be announcing,
the Raw women's participants.
Yep. And it's going to be another one of those moments of bliss segments. They've been really, really rough lately.
Yeah, because so much interruptions and I figured something was up with this one because I was like, well, there ain't that many Raw women's competitors that's gonna really stick out besides Naomi. So I was like, well, who's gonna be in this match?
Yeah, and when she did that later in the night, she came out and first she was announcing the men's participants. And of course, in typical fashion, one person's announced, the next person comes out, and they start talking trash about each other. Repeat. But it's going to be Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and Ricochet was really hot. The crowd was chanting his name when they called him down. Got a huge reaction, which was great. Drew McIntyre came out, a little bit of a reaction, and then of course Baron Corbin came out. Lots of boos there. Nobody's a fan of Corbin at the moment.
The man with the list of accomplishments.
Yeah, his accolades. Getting a lot of heat. It's almost to the point where it's unneeded. It's they just need to dial it back at this point. I'd rather see the man just wrestle than talk.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's, good classic heels for the most part. All they do is talk and then, run when, crap gets bad.
Yeah, it seems like that's the norm for Vince's type of try to get the fans to hate you as much as possible because a push is going to come behind it very soon. So yeah. I can see it. Hopefully it's not one of them Jinder Mahal type of things. He become the Universal Champ and he holds it for months and he wins dirty every time. So
yeah, we'll have to see. But during this whole little segment, they really start digging in Barrett about the fact that he did lose his Money in the Bank cash-in a few years ago. Drew was actually pissed at him for his actions last week, saying Drew had that match won, and of course Corbin just tagged himself in and took the glory and ended up losing to AJ. But everyone prefers getting Seth versus AJ.
Yeah, nobody wanted to see no Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins for the Universal title. What have you, really, what have you done? You beat an old Kurt Angle. No. If you beat AJ, you probably had to cheat or something. AJ had to have been the third person in it because that match would have been a little underwhelming. And people would have been having a thought in their head will Corbin actually win this?
Yeah. But, like I said, there's a nice little back and forth between everybody. Ricochet keeps trying to pipe in that he's going to have a chance. But, of course, everybody in the ring is 2 feet taller than the man. Felt so bad for him here. They just continually put him down and called him kid and crap like that.
Yep. Yeah, it was, it's crazy they made Ricochet and I guess that Drew McIntyre a little meme when he was like, well, I'm not here to talk. And he was like, well, shut up then.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, it's worse enough you look like an ant to all these big dudes and stuff.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But of course, eventually Strowman pipes in and challenges the heels to a match. So that did lead to Ricochet and Strowman versus McIntyre and Corbin. And it's a typical pre-build to a pay-per-view where heels versus faces in some sort of tag match. Thought there was somewhat of an interesting dynamic that could have been in it. 3 big men and 1 tiny guy, but they just went with the cheap. The little man gets worked over for 80% of the match. Felt really bad for Ricochet here again. They were a little stiff with him, I felt like. I mean, he does sell great, so some of it might have just been his selling, but he was busted open in the mouth for a little bit. You could see blood in his mouth at one point.
Yeah, he was taking a lot of brunt of the hit, but he's a strong competitor. He's very strong. He was taking a lot of them shots from Corbin and McIntyre, and then when Braun Strowman was trying to do his little thing when he runs around the ring and McIntyre just hit him with that kick.
Oh, yes, no, that was one of my favorite spots of the night, actually. Like, the best thing probably to come out of the match is his little thing, chasing around, just bam, out of nowhere. But it did lead to more just rest holds and Ricochet just being worked over. For eventually, Strowman gets the hot tag, nice head of steam, just busting up both the guys. And then what is it? Yeah. Ricochet tags in only to eat a headbutt, and Drew sets up for the Claymore, and you think it's over, and then, of course, Corbin does the same thing he does last week and just tags himself in to try to steal the win, only for it to get reversed by Ricochet, and Drew just hits him with a huge right hand, and Strowman just lays him out with the power slam, and then we get a shooting star press, actually, from Ricochet. I don't think he's doing the 630 anymore after TakeOver.
Yeah, I think they changed it up because I think it's part more of like a what is it?
It's definitely more
safety.
High risk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a safety thing because it's kind of like one of the moves. Like, yeah, he's holding his legs to make sure he's doing the circle, but what if he misses and falls on his head? I think that's why they was like, hey, you gotta come up with a different finisher because we want to protect you. Because you probably could be the next big thing.
Oh, definitely. And, like, after TakeOver, it was kind of like everyone thought he might have been injured from, like, just the way it sounded when he hit that mat and miss during the War Raiders match. But he does have a beautiful shooting star press, though.
Yeah, he was high and, like, man, this dude is super, super athletic. But just from, like, his days, even when he was with Lucha Underground, I was watching him as Prince Puma. Like, he's always been impressive. Most impressive high flyer in the business.
Yep. All right, but it's like overall, it was a pretty good match. Slow in some parts, and some of the promo work in the beginning was a little rough. A lot of, I'm just going to get my way because it's my turn, it's my time to shine kind of stuff. It's things we've heard before. I really want to see Drew, like, develop a little bit more. He is great on the mic, but he's starting to grate. He's just, saying the same stuff each week, and it does, look like because of this whole, split, that maybe Money in the Bank will be the, final chapter of the mid-card of Evil.
Yeah, because it's, I want to really see what happens when, he's really, staying in that main event picture. I don't want him to, if he can't win the title, they drop him down. Like, all right, well, you can fight like Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and those guys. Now you can get the U.S. belt. No, I want him to stay there, but I want him to have a solid, perfect feud. I don't want him to feud with nobody that's gonna.
Yeah, he's done his time on the bottom of the card. He's done his time at the mid card. He is really a great heel, and I'd like to see him get the belt eventually, but we'll see how it goes. Money in the Bank, they're saying, this is supposed to really crown a star this year. They've acknowledged that the last 2 years the cash-ins have been horrible.
Even
like we talked about earlier, Corbin cashed in and lost, and that was really due to some Twitter heat that he had. And then, of course, Strowman scheduled his cash-in, I believe, at that year's Hell in a Cell, so...
Yep,
usually it's a exciting, surprising thing, but let's see if they actually pull it off this year.
Yeah, because with Strowman winning last year, I thought he was going to win just because he had formed his own little Shield fraction and stuff, and then when he didn't win, I was just like, well, that was probably your only chance to get that belt.
Yeah, to be fair, though, he wasn't really ready for the belt neither, but... Again, they just, they could have put the winner as somebody else other than him and done something else storyline-wise. But anyways, after that, the Usos come out, and it was a little awkward. They were singing with their own, theme song, and then the music cuts out, and they stood there awkward for a few seconds. The music comes back on, and they start singing again all the way through a commercial break, it appeared.
Yeah, it looked like it was miscommunication, because even just watching from the TV, I was like, well, the crowd is really not into it.
Yeah, it was like they're at a college crowd, and there was some people chanting along with them, but at the same time, there's probably a couple of people being like, why are they chanting day one-ish? What is this about?
It was just a little confused, and I was just like, what are they doing? I was just like, all right, someone messed this up in the truck. What?
But like, so like that killed it for me for a little bit. But when you come back from commercial, who's out there with them? But the Club. We hadn't seen them in months. It feels like, and even given their contract situation, it's surprising to see them on TV at all.
I was like, wow. We've seen you on Raw before. I mean,
yeah, no, it was one of those superstar shakeup moves after the shakeup. But it was good to see them. Both the Good Brothers look good. Them and the Usos have always had good matches together. Especially when they first came into the SmackDown roster and all that.
Yeah, the match was pretty good actually. Like, I thought it was gonna be one of them like squash matches, like the Usos would have finished them fast, but it definitely was a great match. Like they had it longer than I expected it was to be.
Yeah, no, the Good Brothers got in a lot of offense, which again surprising. So it's like I guess they're kind of slanting the Usos to be in that strange like babyface anti-hero role. But it was still just we knew the Club was gonna lose, given they like not gonna sign new contracts, or they haven't signed new contracts yet, even though they were offered 6-figure deals apparently. But it's like they might go off to greener pastures here in October, something like that.
Yeah, I could see them probably going back to New Japan. I don't know if they would do the AEW. I'm not sure. But New Japan, they probably just get accepted back over there.
Yeah, well, it looks like they can go anywhere. They're a phenomenal team. I think they're like, they've won belts all over the world. Like 5-time, I believe, New Japan tag team champs.
Yeah.
But the match with the Club wasn't really the big angle here. The brothers said that before the match they had something that they needed to show everybody, and this was the worst thing I've seen in wrestling in a long time. They cut to a video of them recording the Revival in the shower, shaving each other's backs.
That was terrible.
That was terrible. That implies so many wrong things. That like you don't know where to start. It's like WWE's definitely not being a star here. The Usos are being straight bullies, even though they're being portrayed as baby faces while they're wrestling.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. It's almost like it's worse enough you took the titles off Dash and Wilder, but now you got them in this. It's like, so are they the best tag team in the world, or are they just the biggest joke because they lose certain matches to certain? Now you got a new team on Raw, and now they making fun of them. Like, that's terrible. I was just like, wow. I haven't seen nothing like that since like when DX started pulling pranks on people.
Yeah. But and it was like another thing, like again, wrong on so many levels. You're recording somebody in the bathroom, the private place. Why are you doing that? And 2, they're wrestlers. All right. It's visibly obvious that most of the male talent on the roster shaves in some form or fashion. Like ain't nobody's back that spotless.
Nah.
Like the only man probably who's not currently shaving their back is Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, that's a massive man. I want to do that.
So like there's just hypocrisy. It's unneeded. It doesn't do either team good here. They're like it doesn't serve him at all. And it is probably somewhat to do with the Revival asking for the release a while back. Even though they did get the tag team belts, that was probably just a short thing. Be like, here, stay, be happy for a minute. And I'd obviously rather see them on TV than just sitting out the rest of their contracts, like some wrestlers might be doing here soon.
Wah, wah, wah.
But of course, it does bring the Revivals out, and they start chanting here and there, something about I think shave his back or something like that. Just not the greatest writing ever.
Like, who's doing this?
Yeah. And obviously, this also feels really weird as well. Like you were saying earlier, the tag team champions barely mentioned here. Like the number one contender, so to speak, got more TV time than the tag team champions. So it just feels like the belts are an afterthought here at the moment, and it's not what the division needs. Raw's kind of stacked with tag teams at the moment, and we could use more mature angles rather than this like elementary school writing.
Yeah, especially after I'm sure it was in the Usos clause that they probably were told that the tag team division was getting more focused, it was going to become more serious, they was going to get more competition, and I'm sure they didn't go to Raw just for comedy angles, because the club kind of did that last year with calling people nerds.
Yeah, and I still feel like that again was bad writing. It's like it was SmackDown, so it's probably Road Dogg. He stepped away, but I don't even know who's doing that now. And
I know they have like Jeff Jarrett, Abyss, and Shane Helms doing it. So it's one of them three. Somebody.
I don't know. I feel like it's a Vince thing, because with both sets of teams, they are, at one point big on the indies, respected around the world, and Vince likes to bring these guys in and kind of knock them down a peg and make them feel not as serious, not as badass as they actually are. It's like, prior to AJ's run, whatnot, he was a comedy act along with him, and all they were doing was beating up John Cena, which I loved personally, but could admit that like there's better ways to be a star.
Exactly, like, and it's even just bringing that up. Like, I'm more surprised even when they were like making it as a joke that they beat him up. I was still surprised John Cena even let AJ Styles get over so many times. Like,
well, at that point in John's career, he was about to just be a part-timer. Everyone knew it, and like he listens to fans. Give him all the crap in the world for always being a babyface and burying so many people in his later years so far. Like, the last 2 years have been pretty decent.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But anyways, after that, Miz comes out from Miz TV, and he announces that Bobby Lashley is going to be his guest, and there is no Leo Rush in sight.
What?
No Leo Rush. Yes, this is, I believe, is like second or third week in a row we haven't seen Leo. Apparently, he has huge heat backstage. Some chalk it up to bad attitude. There's other reports saying that it's just over trivial stuff. All about respect and things like that, and what you should do when you're coming up in the roster. Can't speak to what he's gone through or anything like that. Details are still coming out about it, but this, I feel like, is bad for Bobby, because Bobby is not good on the mic. And what did they do to Bobby? They made Bobby speak in the third person the entire time, and Bobby sounded bad.
Yeah, see, that's the problem when it comes to like bigger wrestlers. They're not great on the mic. I don't know what it is. It's their Achilles heel. Like, it's always better to have someone smaller than you, or if you have a tag team partner that knows how to talk, that can do it for you. It's kind of bad for Bobby Lashley, and that's why his first run with WWE wasn't so good, because he wasn't that great talking. And
no, he is one of the most athletic people on the roster. The man could probably do anything in a fight, but no one wants to hear him talk.
Exactly. And I guess now he's gonna be feuding with The Miz, even though The Miz kind of got over him just by just talking, not even wrestling, just talking.
Nope. Oh yeah, no, the little lines going back and forth comparing accolades, and Miz just puts a little too much heart into his own list and gets dumb over with the crowd.
2 versus 8.
He tries to like reel it back in a little bit and be like, oh no, he's just always going for too much. That's just what he does personally. But definitely buried Bobby a little bit.
That was just bad. That I would say that's the second part of the night where that was bad writing. You can't have him talking about accolades, because regardless of what people feel about The Miz, he has title reign.
He's done just about everything in some form or fashion.
There's nothing else. Like, he's just like John Cena. It's crazy, and it's weird to compare. There's nothing for him to do now. Like, the only belt he hasn't touched is the Universal title. Like, he's touched every belt.
He's on Raw now, so that might be where his career's going. Plus, with his new season of his little reality TV show, he's not going anywhere for a while. So, companies obviously higher up on him than they were in previous years, and it's good to see. And of course, though, eventually, Bobby has to say something about Miz's dad, and that leads to a little scuffle, and then we get Miz versus Lashley. And what do you think about this match?
It was alright. I was looking at some of Miz's kicks when he was doing that little Daniel Bryan thing. I was like, you're not really connecting.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I wish he'd stop doing, since they're no longer in a feud together anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I can kind of tell you're not really kicking him. He just kind of, just pretending he's taking it and stuff. I was like, I mean, it was competitive. It was competitive. Gives Miz somebody new to feud with.
Yeah, we've never seen a Miz versus Bobby match before. But, eventually Shane comes out, throws that picture of his dad up there, and, that's about it. Miz gets distracted and just eats that spear. One of the most beautiful spears in the company. I do like Bobby's spear. It's much better than Roman's.
Yeah.
Moved into a very slow, very painful to watch beatdown segment. I think this is the worst thing that Shane does at all. It's clunky and just look horrible.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm guessing, like, Stephanie, Triple H, and Vince, I guess now they're just like, hey, Shane, you can do both shows. And so we just going to take a back seat. We're going to let you take the biggest heat. You're going to feud with two different people on two different brands. Your main feud right now is just be the Miz.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Having two feuds across two brands is a lot to do, but at the same time, like, if you're gonna have somebody do that, they need to be talented enough to do it. Like that, it was some kind of like weird triangle choke or something that he was doing to the Miz that like it didn't look effective at all. It no, and then eventually just it ate up too much TV time and wasn't needed at all.
Nah, the only thing I was saying like that was like effective. What he was doing was the punches, and I was like, "Oh, look at them closed fist punches! Isn't this something?" I was like, "Nobody can do this but Shane for some reason." Because I really thought he was hitting Miz in the side of the head. I was like, oh.
Well, he's got a little bit of like MMA background or training, but it's nothing to the extent that makes him feel like a real competitor. He still just kind of really feels like the boss's son. And again, it's just, why does he need two feuds across two brands? I thought we were done with the authority figure stuff, and here we have one featured in two major angles at two different matches on a pay-per-view. He's going to be a part of, that little thing with Roman on SmackDown as well, I'm sure. Even though he's not actually in the match, I'm sure he's still going to come out in some fashion.
Yeah, I believe so. But I guess he got another match at Money in the Bank with The Miz. This time it's going to be a steel cage match.
Yeah. And accepted in the lamest fashion possible. What is it? He tweeted his acceptance of the match. Like, not even a little backstage interview or anything like that. No shtick. Just, yeah, no, I'll be there. Cool.
I thought like Shane kind of overdid like what his contract is supposed to be, but I guess like once WrestleMania is over, I guess the start of a new year. Because I was like, well, this will be his third time wrestling. Because he wrestled at the Royal Rumble, he wrestled at WrestleMania, he's wrestling Money in the Bank. So I was like, dang, I guess he must got some energy on him.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'm going to take a real quick break. We'll come back in a minute to talk about the Viking Raiders and Lucha House Party's match soon. And we are back. Next out was the Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar still, but luckily they are no longer the Viking Experience, just their finisher is.
Thank God!
Yep, and in a reverse from last week, they came out first, and Lucha House Party came out afterwards and attacked them from behind, trying to get the advantage right off the bat, and it helped them absolutely none.
No.
It looked like the rules were a straight-up tag match. There was no Lucha House Party rules, but even if there was, Eric and Ivar just tore through these guys. They had an impressive spot basically on like each individual member of Lucha House Party.
Yeah, it literally could have been a 3-on-2 match, and it made a difference.
Yeah. And what is it? It's like Kalisto and Grand Metalik were the only ones officially, I believe, that were in the match during the tag portion of it, and poor Lince Dorado just you know, they had to make sure they laid out everybody and caught him with a nice little, like, it's almost like a springboard clothesline leading into a German suplex. It was a nice little spot, but
yeah,
poor little man.
They laid him out. I was like, jeez.
Yeah.
I was like, it's worse enough you don't get enough matches. But dang, you getting just laid out and stuff. You might be out for some weeks.
Yeah, but we'll see how where this is going. Really, it was a fun little squash match, but at the same time, like, poor Lucha House Party, they didn't get anything out of this really. That's 2 losses in 2 weeks for them.
Yep.
But,
So I don't know. Unless they're gonna keep trying to do what they used to do with WCW, where like Rey Mysterio was taking on the Giant and stuff, and maybe they'll try to like figure out something where Lucha House Party might can beat them somehow, some pay-per-view or for something that counts.
We'll see. There's like the Raw's got a lot of tag teams at the moment, and it looks like the belts are tied up with the Usos, the Revival, and Kurt Hawkins and Ryder. So we don't know where the Lucha House Party is going to, get in that title picture at all. The Viking Raiders definitely eventually are. It's a little soon to throw them in there right away. But at the same time, I don't want to see a feud between them and Lucha House Party. I'd rather see them squash some local enhancement talent or something like that.
Yeah, build their name so they can get the crowd behind them. I'd rather them if they just stayed the face. I mean, they nice as those.
Yeah. I was going to say, they don't deserve the squash. They're not heels. Well, they're presented as faces, but whatever, they had their little series with the Revival and kept using the Lucha House Party rules. Like, that was definitely heel tactics to an extent, but still, presented as baby faces. But they definitely have the skill and talent to, do something with those tag belts if they got there. They had the New Day do the whole, free bird rules kind of deal, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for them.
Yeah, it's possible, as long as if Vince goes with, I don't know.
Yeah, Vince doesn't like little guys. But anyways, after that, we had a second moment of bliss, and this one was more painful than the first. Just for, announcing the female competitors of the Money in the Bank match. And first was announced was Natty, and of course Natty gets the mic and starts going on about how it's her turn.
Psych!
Yeah, no, then Dana Brooke comes out and starts talking about how it's her turn, and it's time for her opportunity, and Natty gets all the opportunities, and everyone forgot that Natty and Dana Brooke were even, a thing anymore since Ronda Rousey came around.
She dropped both of y'all.
Yeah, and then Naomi comes out and starts going on about her opportunities, and just painful. All gimme, I won, I deserve. Just horrible writing. Felt so scripted. Like, just give these ladies a chance to actually talk off the cuff a little bit. And
but I thought they had to earn those.
Yeah.
You could just
no.
You could just place yourself in these matches. Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, why is Bliss being the one to announce these? Where are these coming from? Who's making these decisions? Is Shane still a part of this? Is Stephanie still calling the shots? Nope, it's just, okay, these ladies are in this match just cuz. And then of course, afterwards Alexa tries to draw it out, but of course everyone saw it from a mile away. She's going to be in the Money in the Bank match as well.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a surprise, like somebody different, maybe Nikki Cross or something, but
nope. Nikki Cross doesn't even have a brand yet apparently, but
they're confused.
Naomi challenges Bliss to a match right off the bat, and of course Bliss is like, I can't wrestle right now, I don't have the right shoes, and of course we still get this match, Naomi versus Bliss, and just making Dana Brooke and Natty an afterthought. They weren't even out here for this match, at least with the men's competitors. They were like, here's all 4 guys in a tag team match. So we know that Natty and Dana Brooke aren't going to do anything in this match at Money in the Bank. Other than probably eat some horrible spots off that ladder.
Yeah, it's going to be, for the Raw side, it don't look good. This part of the first, like last year, they had like a stacked squad with Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and I forgot who the other two were. But this year, that looks pretty sad. Dana Brooke, when the last time you won? Natty, you had chances at the titles. You did have the women's title at one point, and
it's like nothing against these women personally. Natty's character has never gotten over, in my opinion. They did her real dirty in the beginning of her career, and that stigma has never really left her. Dana Brooke, she had a little bit of promise when she came up, but she still kind of falls flat. Naomi, she's like 50-50 for me sometimes. Sometimes she puts on a great showing, and then other times I don't feel the glow at all. And Alexa, is she a heel? Is she a face? Is she a heel? She's a face. She plays a heel on TV, but on social media, she's butthurt like a babyface would be.
Exactly. But the crazy thing is, she wins a lot. She wins a lot of matches. Like her first match back on Raw, she squashed Bayley, which was a terrible match.
Yeah. And, I don't wish any of these women ill or anything like that, but, like, they have to be careful with Alexa being in this kind of match. She's concussion prone. She takes the bump too hard. That's it. That's her career, and we just got her back. And I hate these moments of bliss segments. I'd rather see her wrestle any day of the week.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I think they need something, but it's a little confusing because you're missing people. You're missing Ronda Rousey, you're missing Nia Jax, who both need surgeries. You don't have Tamina. I guess she wasn't going to be a factor without Nia Jax. And yeah, it seems like most of the better talent is on SmackDown.
It feels that way in some regards. Raw stacked in some ways, and they definitely have more tag teams right now. I think there's a total of 4, maybe 5 tag teams currently on the men's side of SmackDown's roster.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think both brands is missing. I think it's 1 or 2 teams anticipating, like AOP's not wrestling because I think it's Razor. He's still nursing his injury.
I don't know. I might have saw something that he might have been cleared a while back, or maybe his partner's just been cleared the entire time, but they don't have anything for him in a singles run. And I don't really want to see either one of those guys be as singles competitors either. They definitely need a mouthpiece. I mean, they're destructive in the ring, but past that, it's just like you were saying earlier. For some reason, most big men have a hard time talking.
Yeah, because I think one of the they was wrestling on Main Event, and they had I forgot what the general manager was, the cruiserweight division. But he
Drake
was
Maverick.
with them. Yeah, he was
I think they've separated them now. I don't think that's the thing anymore because I believe Drake Maverick is now managing somebody else. I don't remember who it was, or if they're just sticking with his general manager role for 205 Live.
Yeah, that's all I've ever seen him. I
think there was something they were testing with him on the house show circuit. But anyways, speaking about big guys who can actually talk, before we got the Naomi Bliss match, we actually got a second Firefly Funhouse, and wow, these are great. I love them. I'm really hoping that WWE doesn't ruin it somehow. There's so many ways they could do it, but Bray's delivery in this is great.
You could just tell just from like what's going on in it. You can tell like this is not like someone just writing this for Bray. Like, it feels like this is his creation. Like this is what he's doing. He's creating these paintings. He's created these little puppets and things.
Yeah, and did you catch the little subtle detail in that painting? That was his Wyatt family complex that Randy Orton burned down, and it wasn't referenced on TV too much. I believe he did bring it up a little bit on Twitter, saying that he does forgive Randy, and it's like maybe that's hinting at who his first feud's going to be with when he actually does start wrestling under this new gimmick.
So that means Randy will be a face, which is it's funny. Like, he's my favorite wrestler right now. He's been my favorite wrestler for a while, and every time he's a face,
let's see.
don't know what to do.
We don't know. Like, Bray, like, right now, Randy's definitely a heel right now. Like, poor Ali. Every time he gets his hands on Ali, he just messes that boy up. But, like, you know, if it was a program with Orton and him, then it would be probably Bray more betrayed slightly as a face with his new mannerisms, you know, more positive than anything else. I'm sure towards the end of the match, he'll, you know, let loose a little bit of anger and then address it on a little segment or something like that. And Abby will yell at him or whatever.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out where they would place him, because I was thinking about it on Monday night. I was like, I wonder where they would really put him, because, like, who needs the help? Who needs that boost right now? I can't figure it out.
Maybe they, because, you know, Orton is on SmackDown right now. Maybe they are going to put him on SmackDown. Maybe they'll give his first returning feud will be a singles thing, but maybe eventually they're going to throw somebody with him and make another faction around him. He is a great leader, but I'm not sure who would play that role. And like we said, we only have 4 or 5 tag teams right now on SmackDown, so Bray being with somebody would at least fill that role, but at the same time, I don't want to see that happen. I'd rather him still stay just a singles guy. His run with the SmackDown Championship a while back was short-lived and not well received, even though he's a phenomenal wrestler and there's no one like him on the mic, but the writing that he keeps getting is just bad. His angles don't pay off. He loses at every pay-per-view. Hopefully this is just going to be like a breath of fresh air for him.
Yeah, because he's had some good feuds to be the one that takes the losses. Like, I just be like, man, like when he was feuding with Dean Ambrose, John Cena, Roman Reigns, I was like, oh, maybe he can pick these victories up. Nope.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, I'd be okay. I could see why they would have him feud with Orton again, but at the same time, we've seen that he is the one that burnt down the Wyatt family complex. So why revisit this? But at the same time, it is the only indication they've kind of given.
Yeah, I would think he was SmackDown, but you know, I guess they're trying to make one show the A show now since they lost 2 stars on Raw. So.
Well, with him moving to Fox in October, you know, they got to do whatever they can to make Fox happy here.
Yeah.
But anyways, after that little segment, we actually did get the Naomi versus Bliss match, but a lot of it was just centered around the fact that Alexa couldn't tie her damn shoes. Naomi gets in a lot of the early offense, but for whatever reason, every now and then, Bliss would get a little rest hold in there, and lots of rest holds. And it's like, I understand that she has to play it safe in the ring with all the concussion scares and whatnot, but I'd rather just see her continually like throw an opponent into the corner or the ropes and just kick and wail on him while the referee, you know, separates her and she yells at the ref. That's what I want to see Bliss do. She yells at the ref and you can hear it. It's nice little heel heat on her. But this rest hold shtick is, I don't buy it. She's the smallest woman on the roster. What kind of submission hold is she going to do with those tiny arms compared to Naomi?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think they know exactly what to do with Bliss yet, because I think they're so cautious. But I'm sure she wants to do more. It's just the doctors and probably Vince is like, hey. Yeah,
and again, like I said, I don't want anything bad to happen to Bliss. But like, I still feel there's better ways to adapt, and it doesn't feel like she's ring ready. Like, she's in shape and all that, but like she needs a little bit of time away to like just work on a new style that works for her. But this was a real short match for the most part. It felt really rushed towards the end, especially because there was little to no selling. At one point, Naomi pulls off Bliss's shoes and then goes back in to get her, and Bliss just, you know, throws her head first into the second turnbuckle, and rather than, you know, that be down for a second, Naomi pretty much just pops back up after a second, hits Bliss with the rear view while she's distracted, and goes straight into a split leg moonsault for the win. So no selling of probably the most like physical move that was delivered in the match, and then she just gets up and finishes it.
Yeah, another bad Raw part.
Yeah, no, it was like I'd rather see, if anything, that the match ended no DQ or something like that, or Alexa gets mad that her shoes, come off and she just stomps off and leaves the ring or something like that. It's like Naomi didn't need this win, Bliss didn't need this loss, we didn't need this match.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
that's
at least
true.
if the other ladies would have been in it, there would have been a little bit more storytelling going on. But this angle is flat.
Terrible. It just shows that, I guess, since the division's on the low and Becky has 2 belts, I think it's kind of confusing. It really is confusing for them. So,
yeah, but then after that, we had a little segment with Ray and his son in the back, Dominic.
Yeah,
I thought we were done with this after WrestleMania, but I guess with the whole slight injury to Ray during WrestleMania, we got that whole little short match. We didn't get that good feel-good moment payoff with Ray and his son, so they wanted to do it tonight for him. And
it was pretty.
They just brought up a lot of his shortcomings in the last few weeks on the interview and whatnot, and Ray just does the normal babyface thing, saying that he's going to continue to push forward for himself, his fans, and his family. Not a whole lot there. Then Becky comes out, and of course the crowd is still super hot for her. Lots of chants, especially to her little theme song.
Becky 2 belt.
Yeah. And of course, she delivered a great promo explaining why she's defending both of the belts at the Money in the Bank, even though it was more or less, hey, just listen to the crowd. That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the crowd, for the fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been making a lot of comparisons to Stone Cold to her, but it's I'm starting to drift away from that. She just really connects with the fans. She resonates with the fans, but she still really just feels like her own character for the most part.
Yeah, I feel like she got total control of what she's saying. She's drifting away from being a face.
Yeah, there's a lot of things she's doing on social media is definitely not babyface routines. But when she's out in front of the crowd on TV and whatnot, she's definitely still feels like a babyface to me. She called out, Evans for her sneak attack the week prior. And, Evans actually came out, and rather than just doing a little walk around and turn around, she actually got in the ring with her, and they had a little brawl.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, they kind of, them punches are connecting right there. I was like, okay, I like this. Yeah, let's go, Lacey Evans. Kind of,
they got pulled apart 4 or 5 times throughout the whole thing, and it felt real the entire time. They had each other's hairs. There was a lot of stiff punches, a lot of rolling around. It was great camera work, just a great angle.
Yeah, they definitely want when Becky defends her belts, they want to make sure it looks good because she has them and she's the top.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been skeptical with this whole Lacey Evans being in the main event picture right off the bat, basically for her first match. But the build to this, it feels good. I'm dreading to see what the match looks like in the ring. But the storytelling and what they've done so far, it's done a great job. The dynamic between the two, of her being the lady and Becky being the man, it works.
Yeah, sometimes when hearing Lacey talk about certain things a man wants, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, she's not an actual dude. She's a female. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but no, the whole little Southern Belle thing, it works. I can see, if she pulls off a good match here at Money in the Bank, that's really going to open up her career for her. But if she falls flat, then this might be it. I don't expect her to walk away with the championship or anything like that, but I'm really hoping for a good showing. I'm more excited for her defending the Raw belt than the SmackDown belt, since we've seen her and Charlotte already.
Yeah. See, that would be another topic when we talk about SmackDown. Yeah. So, yeah.
But after that little bit, we did get oh, and also, I don't know if you noticed this, but I saw like one half of J&J Security come out to break up the brawl. I was pretty excited.
I didn't see them come out.
I think even Sanjay Dutt was out there as well.
Yeah, I forgot he was with WWE. I forgot.
But anyways, after that, we did finally get the Hawkins and Ryder versus the Revival match. It's like, keep forgetting these guys are the tag team champions. Feel horrible for them. But it's really evident that they're just going to be transitional champions. At some point, the Revival or the Usos are going to be taking these belts off these guys soon.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is, Ryder and Hawkins. Because when I'm watching them now, like, I thought they would have matching gear, songs that go together and things. No,
they're really about the old school stuff. Like, nope, just tights. We don't need flashy music. We don't need flashy edges. We're just top guys. And it's like, I can respect the gimmick, and they are great wrestlers, but I feel like they're being done dirty with her. They still have not they've been offered new contracts supposedly, valued at like $500,000 a year each for the next few years. So 2 years, $1 million a piece, at the very least for them. It's like, that's a lot of money for only being on the roster for, such certain time. But at the same time, they could totally just go to greener pastures when their contract's up. Now, their contract's not up, I believe, until 2020. So they're doing the smart thing and, playing ball right now. But these continual roll-ups on them are horrible. They're not doing anything for their characters. It's bad storytelling with the whole shade the back thing and this. I don't appreciate the crowd getting into this. Maybe after I consume a lot of beer would have got in on the chant myself, but people started chanting "shave his back" at one point while I believe Dash was in the ring, and it's like, come on. I know this is a PG show, but it's like almost like 10 something at night at this point. It's like, kids better be in the bed. Can we do something that's not so childish?
That stuff is just dumb. Like, come on. Dude, so I need almost real tension. I don't need the comedy stuff. This is terrible.
And the ending of this match was, like I said again, terrible. It was like some kind of botched headbutt to Ryder or like to each other. They both headbutted each other. Ryder goes down, Dash lands on him for the pin, but of course doesn't get the 3 count, but then Ryder just rolls him over real quick and he gets the 3 count, and he's like, what? No finishers, no nothing, like, come on. These roll-ups, whoever's writing, like, I believe this will be like the second roll-up of the night, and there's still going to be one more at some point, I believe.
Yeah, because I think they faced the Revival, I think it's 2 or 3 times, and they don't even have a tag finisher, they roll them up. Steal the win. They look surprised, like, "Oh, we won again." Yeah. It's like, wow, it's like they're kind of like a little upgraded version of the B team.
Poor B team. Anyways, after that, Miz is interviewed backstage and challenges Shane to a steel cage match. That's where we actually still got the challenge. We talked about it earlier that Shane accepted, and he accepted it through Twitter. This will be interesting. Shane, I hope, is the one that's going to fall off the steel cage, because I don't want to see Miz get hurt, but at the same time, Shane does fall off of everything, so we'll see what happens. Yeah,
I ain't never seen a guy that's take that many bumps flying off of like high stuff. Like, do you ever learn your lesson? I thought you was dead when you fell through the table and the Undertaker just moved. I was like, oh, he's not going to get up. I was like, he's dead. Oh, shit. Check him.
Alright. And then after that, we had another Sammy segment, and I love his delivery on the mic, but this is the 3rd or 4th week, I think, of him just coming out and talking.
Taunting the fans, and they blaming.
Yeah, and stuff we've heard before, but he, like I said, he delivers it great. He's one of the best people on the mic, him and Kevin. But at the same time, it's where is this going? What is it leading to? He's obviously the heel. There's got to be some big baby face that's going to come up and tell him to shut up at some point. And who's it going to be?
Yeah, at one point while I was listening to him, when what did he say? I think he said some fans had told him he quit. I was like, oh wait, no way, he about to quit on live. What? They gave you the mic just to quit? What? I was like,
it was great. And then there's part like, you guys wanted me to quit, and I was like, I felt like at that moment, everyone who cheered, yeah, it was like, nah, it's not. That's not like people being like, no, I hate Sammy. He's like, nah, Sammy, you could do better on the Indies.
Exactly. And he swerved them. He's like, yeah.
So he's like, I got a little theory right now. It's like Cesaro's on Raw, right? They broke up the bar, and Cesaro's on Raw now, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So him and Sammy, they had a classic a few years back in NXT, and like Cesaro, he's not in the belt picture. He's not in Money in the Bank. No tag team in sight. No word on Sheamus's status or anything like that. Maybe they're gonna do a turn for Cesaro, make him a face again, give him his Cesaro section back, and he be the one that comes up to Sammy and is like, "Nah, we're done here," and quit talking about the fans, and we get some great matches out of that. I would love for that to be the angle that they go to, but that's just
I would love that. I would love to see that again. That would probably be one of them like watch, because I know it's gonna be good. It's not gonna be a short match. It's gonna be one of them long matches, hard hitting matches. Like I like Cesaro and Sami Zayn going at it again. Hoping that's what they do and not do something else where it's a returning star or they put like EC3 versus.
Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing with it. Is he on Raw? Did they move him at all? Have they even announced what they're doing with him?
That's the most confusing thing. I'm not even sure what brand he's on. I think he is on Raw. It's the first night Strowman, and he's like, "Yeah, I need some competition." And so I don't know. Maybe he's in the mid card of Burial. I don't know.
We'll have to keep watching to find out. But anyways, after that, we did have Samoa Joe versus Ray, and Samoa Joe comes out. He's got one of the dopest theme songs, I think. Those horns, the bass, just dope. Gets on that mic and just starts talking trash the way only Joe can talk trash, and just says that Ray's son is ashamed of his loss at WrestleMania and all this, that, and the other. And just great delivery.
He's probably the most personal wrestler where he knows them personally, but he knows he can take it there. Where you like, oh, that's fucked up. Yeah. Like, you took it there. But then again, like, y'all all cool, so like, I'm sure they ain't mad about this. Like, spice it up. Let's make our feud good. Take it there.
And it's like, there was a nice little line in there that he said something to the extent of like, Dominic needs to wear a mask like his dad does so that they can hide their shame. And it's like, oh, that's good.
Yikes.
But anyways, we actually move on to the match, and the match itself it's messy in spots. I wasn't happy. Like, even though the WrestleMania match was short and sweet, just straight into the submission and it's done, that was a better ending than what this was. It looked like both guys were kind of missing a step here or there, and like I was complaining about earlier, we had another roll-up victory, and this Joe's like 20th like roll-up in his career so far. He's like, and he just looks angry and hits the mat afterwards. And not to mention is like, it was the slowest roll-up ever. It's awkward, and he was right underneath the belt, or not the belt, the ropes. So he could have easily grabbed the ropes and broke the count. And just a horrible way to end the match. Like, both guys deserve a lot better. Maybe it was they were being rushed. It was getting close to the end of the night, and we still had that contract signing with AJ and Seth to get to. But in the third hour, with viewership being what it is already in the third hour, this was bad.
Yeah, I get it. And that's what I worry about with Raw, because even once SmackDown goes to Fox, I'm not sure if they're still doing 2 hours or they're going to 3 hours, but I think they need to cut the time back down to 2. Maybe they just
it's a lot of wrestling to watch in a week, but It's like, if they cut the time, it's like, knowing our luck, they're probably going to cut the quality of the matches before they cut the stupid vignettes and the bad promos and the moments of bliss.
If you're gonna have 3 hours and Raw still the 8th show, like if y'all gonna feud and talk, make it something like people are gonna be like intrigued with. It shouldn't be like flat, like content and flat storylines. Terrible, and you like.
Well, it's like hopefully this year, Triple H is going to be taking the reins a little bit more this year. A lot of people feel like, Vince is trying to re-debut the XFL next year, so if he's doing that, he can't be making those last-minute changes to Raw and SmackDown like he does. And a lot of people feel like that's where a lot of the bad changes are coming from, Vince's last-minute tweaks. There's been reports that one of the reasons that, Road Dogg stepped down is that he would work all week on, writing a good story, getting scripts out and getting things published, only for, the day of the show to come there and all his hard work and planning is scrapped by the boss. And then the show airs and he gets blamed for it.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's
I don't know whether or not there's any validity to that or not. I'm sure Road Dogg wrote some crap television as well, and everyone's just passing the buck there, but it's like at the end of the day, it's easy to see what's working when it's on television, and it's easy to see what isn't working on television, and just going by the numbers, they know they need to switch things around if they're going to stop all this talent trying to leave or viewership going down in that final hour.
Exactly. Like if you realize that your main roster, you have too many guys up there, send people backwards and let them go to NXT or let them go to NXT UK stuff. Like, don't have people go to the main roster. Like, have people start going back so they can help out the other shows, build that talent up and build their shows up.
They're doing that with a couple superstars. I know Tyler Breeze has gone back down there, and Luke Harper, before he asked for his release during Access weekend for WrestleMania, he was helping out with what's his name, Dominic Dijakovic. I probably said.
Oh yeah. I know.
But at the same time, it's like it's easy for us to sit back and watch this stuff, and not actually contribute to the making of the product and judge. But at the same time, it's evident when other promotions outside the WWE are pulling in 5.4 million viewers for their main event on a Friday night's television that's not a pay-per-view, and they, on a established weekly rotation, can't seem to break their 3 million mark anymore.
Yep, that's true. That's true. I agree.
But anyways, after that, Michael Cole was in the ring for the contract signing between AJ and Seth. And by this time of the night, I was just ready for Raw to be over. I love Seth. I love AJ. But just so long into the show for just to watch two grown men sit and go, nuh-uh, uh-huh, nuh-uh, uh-huh, back and forth.
No lie, when watching Raw, I literally forgot Seth was on the show. I was like, oh snap, I forgot he's the Universal Champ. Why didn't he open the show? I was like, why is he coming out last? Like, that's it. I was like,
well, it's like he opened up last week's show, but at the same time, it's like, why are we still doing contract signings in 2019? The match is announced. You told us the stipulation that AJ had to go through, those two matches in order to be the number one contender. He is the number one contender. Why do we have to sign a piece of paper saying that they will wrestle at the pay-per-view? We know they're going to wrestle at the pay-per-view regardless if there's a signature or not.
Yeah, I guess they did it because it's their first time ever having and they fight for a belt, and it's like, that's all right, but
yeah, no, and it's like it should be a good match, but this segment didn't feel like it was needed at all, and AJ was accusing Seth of wanting to be the next AJ Styles, and it's like, bro, he's got like a foot and a half on you. He's 20 years younger. He's the champion of the promotion currently. If anything, it sounds like you're a jealous old man, which I guess is what they're trying to work into, like a subtle heel turn for him. But it still doesn't feel like he's really a heel yet. They came to blows over this whole contract signing, but like everybody comes to blows at a contract signing.
Yeah, I never seen anybody just walk away clean unless it's Brock Lesnar and somebody, and maybe he just like taunts them with the belt, and nobody does nothing.
I can't remember in any recent memory that it not ending in the table getting smashed or something. Like, you see that tablecloth, you're like, oh, that poor table.
Yep, another table getting broken. Somebody about to clean it up.
Yeah, it was like a little interesting spot, at least. It's like I hadn't seen that in a while. The phenomenal forearm busting through the table. I don't know who took the worst of it, though, honestly. Because it just kind of looked like, he hit that forearm, and Seth just had to fall backwards on the table, whereas AJ kept flying through Seth into the table. So, like, it looked kind of cool, but I'm sure there's a camera angle that shows just AJ eating it.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, Seth back up, and then you could kind of tell, like, Seth kind of just leaves his feet just to do it, because I'm sure if he would have just did a phenomenal forearm and he was standing straight up, Seth probably would have got hurt. He probably would have hurt that back. So he was like, let me make sure we break this table, because this will look terrible, like when Charlotte and Sasha was fighting in the cage, and she threw it to the table and it didn't break, and she got mad. It was like, yo, what?
Oh, but yeah, and that was Raw, though. The little closing segment. They should have a great match at Money in the Bank. I still feel like it's a little early to take the belt off of Seth. AJ claims he's gonna, do whatever it takes to be the champion. Never rest, never rust is his new slogan. And who knows? The club is on Raw now, so maybe he gets reunited with the club next week, and they just start, beating up old poor Seth, who, no longer has any friends on Raw anymore.
Yeah, well, I'll probably say if they did that, they'll probably have the club join him, and they probably have the Usos help Seth, and so he at least has some type of ally.
We'll see. They can still, swerve us and go the completely different direction, because, they don't want to give the club any TV time with them not signing their new deals. Like, I still feel like it'd be the better thing to do. Use them up while you got them, because otherwise, you're just paying for them to sit at home, which they've essentially done all of last year. I think they wrestled 4 times last year.
That's terrible. That's. I mean, I'm sure they enjoy like time with family, maybe for vacation, but you not wrestling, you active like that. Ooh, that sucks.
Alright. But anyways, that was this week's Raw recap for y'all. Appreciate y'all joining us. We're gonna keep doing this every week for every show. Hopefully, it'll become a little bit more smoother as time goes by. But I'm Jesse.
Dubs in the building,
and we'll catch y'all later. Peace.
All right.